beautiful poem for her mother and put it on your Facebook page. That was extremely creative, girl.
Thank you. I come through once in a while. I like as I was doing it, I was like just, thinking about mama and flowing, and I was like, you know what, that's pretty good.
That was actually very good. It must
Thank
not
you.
have been easy to write.
No, just thought about mama and felt the love, but I was like, oh, I didn't know I could do that. So try something new.
Well, I tell you, outside of having your brother on the first Todd Talk where we talked about what it was like to be a family and to walk through this pandemonium, I just want to say to those of you at the outset, wherever you're watching from, there's people who have been little affected by this, the COVID-19 crisis, and there have been people that have been radically affected. And as a matter of fact, my own daughter, right here, lost her job for a while, and they just came back together. So, as the general manager of Anytime Fitness, and your owners own 4 stores out there, right? Or 4 locations, should I say, not stores.
Yep, Team Borden.
Good people.
Oh my gosh, I love them. Brandon and Amber Borden. Yeah. Great.
Where are there 4 locations in Reno?
We're out at Red Rock here, and then there's one in Sparks, and there's one in Midtown, and then there's one kind of not far from us in Golden Valley. So,
Well,
but
I'm a little biased, but I just got to say, they are such smart people to hire you. Very insightful.
stop. No, the thing was, it was actually like a really, I don't use this word often besides Disneyland, but it really was like a magical meeting. Our first interview, like the 3 of us just sat down, and where you just, everybody just sees each other, and it's just 3 genuine, real people. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm home now. And I was like, you guys are stuck with me now. So
Speak of home, I'm actually, the location where I'm at, I've given to her a backdrop that she's well familiar with because this is her home. So whatever city girl you think you know out there, she's straight from the mountains. And this will be a great recollection. Let's begin there because I got some questions for you.
Yes, sir.
How, and I mean, we're going to talk about holistic health. We're going to talk about physical health, brain health, and spiritual health. But you got into a physical fitness arena. How and why did you choose that field?
I've always been, playing in the sports and stuff growing up, and I've always ran on and off. I always worked out with you on and off. I always followed you into gyms, all through the years when we'd visit. And so I always kind of had that influence. And I don't know, it evolved really, because at first you do it when you're younger out of, oh, I just want to be in shape and, I want to look good. And then as you kind of get a little older, you're just like, I just really want to be healthy. I want to be here for my kids and I want to be my best for them. And then you grow in the knowledge of just how important it is for your mind and your body and your spirituality and everything. Like it's so much more than just, oh, I just want a 6-pack, it all starts with your physical. I mean, this is your vehicle. And so any form of peace is only going to come from that. Because if that isn't operating right, it's a whole new ball game, So definitely just fell into a passion for it.
And let me tell you, my daughter has got some serious expertise in like she had mentioned, this is lifelong for her. I mean, she was massively into sports. And I forgive the boast. She was very good. And proof of this, I've just got a couple of the trophies that she had that are still in her room here for everything. National champion, MVP player, all of these things. On top of that, she is prom queens. And we're loaded with these things, but are really good memories because this has always been very important to you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Can I tell you something funny though? I was playing basketball for the first time in a while, a couple months ago. First shot, I was like, I got this. This is my jam. I was playing with a couple people. First shot, I threw it up, totally airballed it. I was like, okay. I was like, so we gotta get it back, gotta get it back. So that's funny to see all those trophies and stuff, Dada.
Isn't it funny? Even when your mind is still there, you go to dribble the ball and you're like, wow, I thought it was right there, but it's just not
How do
there.
you do this again? I was like, why is it so heavy? Why is this basketball so heavy?
I go, those humbling moments in life. I'm like, wow, life is full of those, aren't there?
I know, I feel like I spend half my time telling God, I'm like, I couldn't not be humble. I get it. Trust me. Like, not going anywhere. You don't need to make me airball things.
Well, you are sitting right now in your office at Anytime Fitness, correct?
I am, even though we're closed down because of everything, we're just doing a lot on the back end to just try to get open as soon as we can and stay connected to our members because, even though things close down, your health doesn't close down. So we've been working just as hard every week to just try to help people out at home for sure.
What a difficult journey in a society in which essential has not been classified as gyms or churches where they need this stuff for their mind. And I mean, you've watched this really affect your, people on your members. Yeah.
Yes, sir. It's just a whole different ball game, never before in a lot of our lives, really. I mean, depending how old you are out there, but never before have we just been handed our time like that. So all of a sudden, everything that our plans, our schedules, everything just to stop and then to just essentially be there with yourself and with time. I think whether you're a church member or a gym member, it rocked you a little bit, it's just kind of like a game changer for sure.
With most of the gyms, well, let me ask you real quick. So you guys are still kind of waiting for an opening date, right?
Yes, sir. Here in Nevada, unfortunately, we didn't get approved to open up for phase one by the governor. So we don't have exact dates for phase two yet, but we're just doing everything we can from petitions. And, we're a little proud and like passionate here at Team Warden, especially because our gyms are just so clean. Like we've always sanitized things so well. We have always, even, our members, we encourage to do it, but we go through like, I was just on the phone with a lady today and she's just like, why are you guys still closed? You're so clean. I was like, thank you. I know, but we want to be wise and we don't want this thing to spread at all, just like anybody else. So we want to be cautious. We want to go by the rules. We want to do what's best for people. So we're just trying to find that balance.
I've been in gyms all of my life and very super impressed with Anytime Fitness and especially the ones that these guys run. So let me ask you a question on that, because with most of the gyms closed and people's fitness going down the tubes, just in the news, I just read and heard that everybody is worrying about quarantine fat. And one quarantine fat, we even got a phrase for it. One person said, had a sign up that said, due to coronavirus, my summer body will be postponed until 20.
Oh no, bless.
And I'm okay. So here you are, a fitness manager and coach, and man, we're walking into May, and we want to be fit all the time. But with most gyms closed at the moment, where's the hope? What are some ideas, some motivations to start turning the corner? Because the truth is, man, it's not only affected people's body this shut-in time, like being sitting there sheltered up in the winter, but it even more has affected their brains. So where do you go, girl? Where do you take people from there?
I mean, I think everybody, because how many of us have just been online this whole time or on our phones? We have so many resources for workouts and dieting and, even mental health and, all this stuff, but we still find ourselves just sitting on the couch. So we have all this information because it's just kind of too much, to be honest. And it's just information overload because, like you're saying, it's just, where do I start? Especially when you're dealing essentially with, I don't want to say trauma, but a little bit of shock from just everything being closed down, like we were talking about. And then you're just left with yourself and your time. So you have a little bit of shock going on. You have all this information on how to's. It's not like there's a lack of information. It's not like there's a lack of resources. You know, our company, we've been doing virtual training, putting out a ton of workouts. But even with all that, we're all still just kind of stagnant. We're just a little bit frozen. So it really just shows that the real source of that is actually your motivation. Like you're saying, Data, you know, it's your why. Why do I want to be fit? Why do I want to be healthy? Why do I want to have mental strength? And until you really dig deep in that, into your why, because your why is what's going to keep you consistent, right? Your why is going to keep you on track. It's going to keep you motivated. It's going to keep you going, you know, and no matter what that is for you. But that's why kind of all these reasons seem like it seems like, well, I just want to lose 10 pounds. So we think it's just that. It's like, well, no, you don't just want to lose weight. Nobody randomly wants to just lose weight, right? Like, why do you want to lose 10 pounds? Are you trying to look good for somebody? Are you trying to be healthy for somebody? Do you not feel that great in your skin? You know, so it's the mental behind it that really has to be the foundation, even before the habits, even before the behavioral change. You have to sit there with yourself and have some real talk. And I mean, look yourself in the mirror if you have to. I can't tell you, I'm probably getting weird with it at this point, how many times I look myself in the mirror and just talk. Because it's just like, hey, self, like, where are you at? Why do you want to do this? And you have to be real. There's nobody watching, there's nobody to impress. Just the truth will set you free. You know what I mean? So just to be sit there and be real with yourself, but you've got to find your why. You've got to find your drive.
You know, one of the things, girl, I completely agree. And by the way, you're going to hear us back and forth. I'm going to say girl because that's what I call her. And she's going to say dada because that's what she calls me. So just get used to it. So they're terms of endearment. So let's talk about that for a second, because when you said about the motivation, the mind, I mean, it's true that who their people are watching right now is a spiritual coach and a not just a physical coach, because you do brain coaching too. You have elite, excuse me, brain fitness, and when you said that that's where it starts, I mean, the Bible, from my point of view as a pastor, is full of this whole idea of renewing your mind, and to give it even more specificity on my end, it's to have the mind of Christ. It's to have the mind so that's a big deal, because you can wish to get up. I mean, it's just another New Year's Day, right? It's just another resolution if we don't have that answering that why. So what are some good whys to remind people of, as far as the, I say they may be basics, but when you come to motivating people back to, not just back to the gym, because a lot of people want to have the gym. That's why they belong to them, because that is their help, their mental, faculties. So when they don't have that, how do you speak to the mind about that motivation?
Yeah, I think that's essentially why we came up with Elite Brain Fitness as well, is kind of everything like you're saying. Some of us need, because our mind is your most powerful muscle. I mean, it really is. Everything starts and ends with your mind. Everything starts and ends with how you think about what you think. And essentially started Elite Brain Fitness because it's just a 3-session program to teach you a technique, because your mind is all about awareness, organization, and control. I mean, really, at the end of the day, if we can be aware of it, we can organize it, and then we can control it. And so to have a system and a technique for no matter what stress is laid on you, you can take that stress and use it for your growth. And you can grow your brain just like you can muscles. And when it comes to your why, if people are having a hard time being motivated, or a hard time digging deep, or kind of just like what, I am unhealthy and the doctor has said this and that, but what, I'm good, it is what it is, and there's not a lot I can do about that. I think we all have to kind of get real with ourselves, because the worst person's lies that we believe every day are our own. And so you say that, but you don't mean that, because deep down, what we all want is to be happy, healthy, and whole. We want to be filled with our purpose. Like our drive comes from that why and what we do in our calling. And so if you're having a hard time motivating, I mean, you really need that connectedness. And that's where everything you're talking about, having that connectedness with God, you know, especially knowing him through Jesus's character and everything, you have that connectedness and your purpose flows from that. So you have a reason to grow because you know you're called to more. You know you're called to a bigger purpose. You know you're called for so much more than just mediocrity. You know, there's more to the picture. And I think when you have that connection with Jesus and a higher power, you know there's more. And so you wake up wanting more and you don't really psych yourself out anymore. You know what I mean?
Absolutely love what you're saying. I mean, we know that the confession that we are, especially as Americans, we're creatures of comfort. I mean, look where my picture is. I just want to sit here by this river and enjoy this
Safe
and
place.
sip, and that's right. Have a drink, and I'm comfortable. Well, that comfort will kill you after a while. Literally. I mean, it'll clog your arteries. And I mean, so that reality, I just love what you're saying, because that reality of understanding our purpose, that God designed us for something different. It reminds me, just even the sitting position. I mean, you think about that, how long we sit, the couches, the comforts. And I remember when I started to stand working at my desk, and people remember that, and people thought, you're standing. I go, we were meant to stand. It's like a pond that's just sitting there and being a cesspool of pond scum. You know, it's like you're meant to be like this river to run. And we all know we feel better. So you're right, though, starting with our mind and saying, man, we got to go back to those core basics, that we were not just meant to be stagnant, right?
Yes, sir. In so many ways. I mean, physically alone. I mean, right now I'm sitting on an exercise ball. I haven't been bouncing on it, but like that's in my office. The first thing when I came in here, I was like, I don't want to sit down. Same thing, you know, I've been watching like you and mama exercise through the years and you stand up on your desk. And then my awesome partner, Kirsty, she brought in her little stand-up desk. But I mean, it's so much more than just physical. We're not meant for stagnant, but we're not at all meant for stagnant mental. And if you're not growing, if you're not getting out of your comfort zone, unfortunately, you're actually going backwards, because with the mind, there is no middle. You don't just get to stay there. If it's not growing, it's depleting. And I mean, we could get into the neuroscience all day long of neural pathways, and you produce 700 new neurons every day. And what are you going to do with, you know, you could get into that, but it really is true. If you're not growing, if you're not being proactive, you're actually going backwards. So that's why the mind is so important, because there's no middle ground there, you know?
I'm giving you opportunity. This is the preaching thing. So this is the moment where you're sharing exactly what it is. And Sharia and I share something in common with mental struggles in the background, because her mother, my wife, has a brain disorder, bipolarity. And so she grew up knowing what the brain can do. And let me give a chapter and verse to this, because one version of Proverbs 23:7 says, as a person thinks, so he or she is. I mean, it's very clear in scripture that God just didn't stick some gray matter up here. I mean, this little thing can gear us in there. And I love what you said. There is no standing still. One person put it once, and neutrality is impossible. You're moving forward or you're moving back, right?
Was that Churchill, I think?
Um, could have been, might have been Erwin Lutzer, but
Yeah, I
yeah,
don't know. You told me that one time when I forget what was a couple of years back. That's why it stuck with me. Good one.
it's true though, right?
It's very true. And you know, you either master your mind or it masters you, you know, and you don't think about that because we're so used to just going with whatever we think and feel in a moment. But what that ultimately does is it puts you as a victim to yourself, to where you have no control, because it's just like, well, I feel really sad today. and I feel really happy today, or I feel stronger, I feel like going to the gym, or I feel like reading this book. And that's where I have so much immense respect for Mama, because to wake up every day and fight that battle, but to do what you need to do with it, no matter if that's medicine for you, going out to a support system for you, just to not accept, well, this is the way I am. She wakes up every morning and she goes, okay, I'm going to do the best of what I can do with what I have. And I respect her so much for her journey with that. And anybody else out there that has families with, you know, just some brain hangups. Really, there's some chemical, we all don't produce a good amount of chemicals sometimes, or what we need. And just to support them, and to the people out there that are going through that, is just don't give up. You know what I mean? So
I tell people, you're not confined. You're not in prison. Look at the beautiful creation that's out there. Get something to get your mind off of these things. I mean, we have choices. And I'm going, yeah, I feel this way. Yeah, I want to sit. Yeah, I just want to turn on the TV. Yeah, I just want to sit by the river. But at some point there's a choice, and do the smallest of things, right? I mean, it doesn't even take a big thing. I mean, go out and just get your blood moving. What is the physiology in back of that in the brain, just to get your body moving, doing something, the slightest thing. I think sometimes people think they got to do this full tilt workout or nothing at all. Should they start like right now? Do they start back gradually, little tiny bits? What can they do?
I think the biggest thing is keep it simple, but the other biggest thing is shake off all the stigmas with exercise and dieting and preconceived notions, everything that your journey with fitness, where you're like, oh, here I go again, I'm going to try for that 20 pounds or whatever. Just shake it off. Just fresh start, clean canvas, because how you think about it is going to affect how you do it. And so when you think about it like a lifestyle, when you think about it like God has given me this temple, I get one, and it's so connected to your mind and your overall happiness. How we should be thinking about it is, it's the best addiction, really, not just exercise, but healthy eating and mental growth. Be fixated on bettering yourself, really, because the further out you get from being stagnant, the more addicted you get to it, because you feel so much better. Your mind's more clear. You're de-stressed, so it's not like you're just dropping that weight and then thinking the same way. Like, you have to be in tune with your body and how you're feeling, because the better you get, the healthier you eat, the more exercise you do, you see the results so quick, data, but so many times we're not in tune, because we're just thinking, I got to get that 20 pounds off. And it's like, slow down and like appreciate the benefits, because that's what makes it a lifestyle instead of just another whim dieting plan.
I love what you're saying, girl. And when you're talking about shaking off those stigmas, I mean, this just isn't about getting a body ready for the summer. It's not a New Year's resolution. I tell people, man, your life is on the line right now. People are in crisis. And if you don't think you're in crisis, look around you at everybody and how it's affecting your life. I would find it very difficult to believe that people are not affected by this one way, shape, or form. And if nothing more, then they're irritated as all get out at the circumstances not moving along. Well, I go, guess what that is? That's affected you. It's all taken your brain energy right now. So I love when you're saying of shake that off. This is about I mean, we want to get to thriving, but it's about surviving, man. You've got to get up, right?
Yep. Yes, sir. And the thing is too, for those people, that's my fed up feisty group. That's people like me. I don't know why, but I have had a feisty issue my whole life. I go from 0 to 10 data, from 0 to 10 really quick. Things just piss me off sometimes, pardon my French, but it's just like, we have such a strength. So everybody out there that is just irritated, they're done, they're tired of being stressed out, they don't want to hear one more thing about COVID or this, even though it's very real. those are my fed up people. And there is such a beauty in that. There's such a strength in that, because it's like, you're fed up. You're not going to deal with any more of even your own excuses and your own, you just want to do something different and you just want different results. So that is actually a very good group of those of you that are out there. Use that, just bring that fed up, put it in a good direction, because that gives you fuel for the fire, because you're just kind of angry. You're like, yeah, I'm in a jog because I'm really tired of sitting on the couch every day.
Yeah.
And it's not making me happy, and I'm just irritated, you know? And so
yeah.
use
So
that.
quit yelling at the TV screen, because those newscasters can't hear you.
And they don't care.
Harness, and they don't care.
No.
Harness it in a different direction. And I want to compliment you, because we do nothing but strong-willed in our family. So go back to this to say, the people that are normally criticizing strong-willed people are people that aren't doing anything.
Yeah.
You know, Einstein said you need to push aside the mediocre mind and go after things. And so the good news about Feisty is just what you said, man. We're ready for the fight. The bad news about Feisty is sometimes we're feisty in the wrong direction.
You just gotta calm down.
You just gotta calm down.
I put myself in adult timeout. Just count to 10, say a prayer, just woosah. But the nice thing is, it's all habits, right? And that's everything, honestly, that I am so in love with about the technique we've created with Elite Brain Fitness, because every stress, every negative, every even positive, because, you know, as you know, Dada, we learned with Mama's journey, even a lot of good positive things are still sometimes feel like weight, and they're kind of just, you know, still a pull. And what we've created is a system that helps you organize that, but view that as weight, because it's all weight. But just like in training your muscles, you literally need weight, you need resistance, you need pressure to break the muscle down in order to build it back up, as long as you have a good protein intake. And that's what we can do with stress. That's what we can do with feistiness, negativity, you know, all the things swarming around us right now because COVID, the news, don't even get me started, the way the news is projecting everything. But that negativity can be a good thing if you know how to use it. And that's everything God wants for us. It's why he said that he will make good come out of everything, is because he knows what's in front of you. You can use that weight for your growth. And that's all he wants you to do, is to grow, to have the mind and heart of God. And so when we view all that in front of us and just view it as weights, like, okay, I got to lift this, and you go about it the right way, then you're good, you know?
I love that analogy of using the stress, using all of those negatives. They're like the resistance in a gym, and without the weight, without the tension,
you're never gonna grow.
Not going to happen.
You
But
won't.
we're not used to doing that with the mind. We just say, I'm stressed out, you know, I can't take it anymore, instead of harnessing that to say, it's time to work out, man.
And that's, you know, I just had a client going through a lot with Elite Brain Fitness, going through a lot. And the first thing I said, I didn't realize I said it. I said, good. And he was like, excuse me? I was like, we've got, you know,
thanks a lot.
This guy's probably like, refund, you know, but no, he finished the program. He's doing good. But no, but I was like, good. You've got the weight we need to help you grow. Because, you know, the kicker though, Dada, with muscle, for those of you out there that, you know, don't know a lot about muscle growth and fitness, is that resistance when you're weightlifting breaks down your muscle essentially. And if you have a positive protein balance, then your muscle will essentially grow. But if you're not having the right amount of protein and not feeding that muscle, essentially, it's kind of just going to break down and it's not going to grow. So the kicker with viewing your stressors and negativity as weight is you've got to have the right things in your life to tip your brain to growth, as opposed to you just lifting and feeling that weight and viewing it as weight, but it's not going to do anything. And essentially, like we said, if you're not growing, you're going backwards. And so you have to have those, you have to find what you need in a moment when the stress sets in, you know, when you get that tight chested feeling and when you're just overwhelmed, like a lot of us are at home right now. You can view it as stress and weight, but you've got to be having the right intake for your heart and your mind. And we've created a few of those where they're metaphorical proteins with Elite Brain Fitness, but a group of 5 things you can look and just say, well, I think I really need to just chill with this one right now, or I need to take this in, you know. And but the biggest thing, you know, at the end of the day is really for a lot of you out there through your church data and the community there, I mean, it's just Jesus, you know, it's his word and everything. And when he was leaving, you know, I can't get as technical as you can because the dates and everything, but when Jesus was leaving, you know, he said, you know, but I will leave a helper that will be with you forever. And that original Greek word of helper is comforter, encourager, you know, and that's the Holy Spirit. But that's, for anybody out there that's not a Christian, that is our sixth sense. That's our gut instincts. Everything about us essentially is that Holy Spirit that Jesus left with us. And it's a game changer. It really is, because when the weight sets in, when everything sets in, but you know that the universe is built on being your cheerleader, knowing you've got this and you can grow, and you hear those words of encouragement, of empowerment, then you start talking to yourself like that because you know it's real, because you have your identity. And that changes everything, is our inner dialogue. Because so many of us just go with it and we just think, you know, kind of like you said, Dada, well, I don't really feel like it today. I'm good. I'm really sad. You know what? I've been through a lot and I'm not going to do it. That's your inner dialogue. And it's so important, as opposed to you hear this voice calling you for more. You hear this voice saying, seek first the kingdom of heaven and everything else will be supplied to you. You feel a bigger calling. You're like, my growth is not just about me. And I mean, it does help you feel fulfilled and be happy, but man, there are people out there. We're all interconnected. And so when we're stronger as individuals, we're stronger as a whole. And everybody, no matter where you're at religiously on the planet, no matter what background you're from, what neighborhood, you know that as a planet, we all need to grow together. We all need to develop that love, you know?
And we're starting to rock the preacher in me. So let me know, this is a good thing, because I want to end our last 5 minutes. I told you this would be fast.
Yeah.
Once we start, but I want to hit on exactly what you're hitting on, girl, because it's such wisdom. When a person looks at their whole life, I mean, I grew up in an atheist background, an atheist home. I thought the purpose in life was to consume and collect. And when you are viewing life in that respect, that you're going to grow out there and you're going to collect as much as you can, consume as much as you can, and then we all die and God hopes somebody does something good with it all. But instead of realizing what you just said, that we just learned that in our men's Bible study this morning, but mind of it, that we were just not called to receive all these blessings that God were giving them, but to give them out to other people. That's part of who we are. We were not just meant to be physical beings. And if we look at ourselves in that respect, it's important. This body's sacred. There's a lot of Christians that have to hear that. You cited the verse. I want to cite the last two and then give you a couple minutes to address this, what the question I'm about to pull out of this. 1 Corinthians 6:20 says that your body is a temple, and to glorify God with your body. And that means what you put into it. That means what you do with it. You know, and I have to remind some people, I go, I mean, we're a temple. I mean, they had the literal temple in Jesus's day where God's presence resided. Now, as you said, John 14, Jesus said, I'm going to leave the Holy Spirit inside of you. Well, guess what? You are that temple. That's why that temple was destroyed, because you're the temple. But this matters. This matters. This is sacred to God. It's not like just the spiritual matters. He created matter, and he said it was good. He didn't go, oh, well, that'll do for now. Okay, at the same time, value-wise, one more verse I want to bring up, which this is good for both of our vocations. 1 Timothy 4:8 says in the Bible, for physical training is of some value. And I have to tell people, I go, it's some value. So, but it says, but godliness, or I'll say spiritual training, has value for all things, holding promise for the present life and the life to come. Your physical training is important. It has value for this life, who we are, what we think. This brain is material. And yet spiritually, we are these holistic beings. And I was never taught that growing up. So I cared for this shell. But I'm like, spiritually, you're bringing up verses, I think, more than your dad this time, which is good. But this balance is what I want to ask you a question on the last couple minutes. I mean, man, mind, body, and soul.
Mm.
If there isn't any more telling of a moment in life is how all of those are being rattled right now in our society. How does anyone, and just even what you found in your experience in your profession, balance these things? This is the physical is worth some value, godliness is worth this. You've got your elite brain fitness, all are very critical, but especially I want to ask you this, girl, in tough times. And let me remind you of one. I mean, Sharia, it's what I've always talked about what I've done, or excuse me, what Tracy and I went through when your mother wanted to take her life 7, 8 years ago. Sharia was there with me in Houston when she was in a mental hospital, for over a week, and then came out worse, actually. And then last year, you were with me when I went through my prostate cancer surgery, and the 7, 8 months. What's not often brought to light is the difficulties that the kids go through. You were there at the hospital, but you were there. So I'm going to immerse you in that, and to say, with these very real things of your parents, either back then or this last year, you've endured quite a bit yourself. How is a person balancing these things, mind, body, and spirit,
Mm.
in tough times? What's your thoughts?
I think, when things get hard and kind of when things go dark, you kind of get tunnel vision, which is what tough times do for all of us. And you kind of start to feel a little disconnected from everything, and you're just you click really quick into survival mode, and like the real survival mode. You're just kind of like, wow, we just got to get through this, with like what our family went through. But then a lot of people right now, a lot of people are in that mode right now. A lot of people just have tunnel vision, and what that does is you really do feel frozen. And the biggest thing is that's okay. We focus so much on not being there and everything, but you do have to take a minute to just go, this is a lot, and I'm not okay, and I'm not handling this okay. And you don't set up shop there, like you always say, data, but you do need to, where we, always talk about real talk. I think sometimes, especially us, when as humans, when we're in survival mode, like a lot of people are right now, we kind of just try to like just get through it, and just we don't want to kind of be alone, and we don't want to be still. We're just kind of like, okay, we're just gonna go, and we're gonna go. But you have to stop, because if you don't stop, you're never gonna get comforted, and you're never gonna climb out of that, because God said, be still and know that I'm God. And what he's essentially doing is he's not asking you to be okay with your circumstances. He's not asking you to accept everything that's going on. What he's asking you is to know who he is in your circumstance. He's asking you to find your confidence in him, because when you're confident in who God is, when you're confident in the ultimate controller of everything, when you're confident that God is on your side, then you're confident in you, because you're connected to him, and you're part of him, you're abiding in him. And it's kind of like, I always think of Lion King, which everybody out there has probably seen. But remember that scene where Simba went running out into the field. For those of you who don't know, it's a cartoon lion Disney movie, but Simba went running out into the field. The guy was just going through it. He had tunnel vision. He was numb. There was too much going on. And his dad, Mufasa, had passed away. But Simba was in this field and Mufasa appeared in the sky, his spirit did. And all he did was look down on him and he said, remember who you are.
Mm.
And that was a game changer for Simba because he stood up again and he knew who he was because he knew who his dad was. And so that's why it's so important when we're going through crisis, let go of everything else.
Yeah.
And just know who God is. And if you don't know who he is, and you're like, I don't know about this Jesus guy, I don't know about all this, you got to start that journey, because at the end of the day, there's a reason the sun is in the sky, and it's not ours to agree or disagree with. There's a reason that that's there, the stars are there, and there's truth that is easily accessible to us. But that's why, that's essentially your why. So when you get to your core through crisis, if you know who he is, what he does, what he's always done for you, what he's always going to do for you, it gives you your confidence. And they always say confidence is the best outfit, so rock it. And it's true, but that's the real confidence, that no matter what weight and stress hits you, you feel it, you wear it, but you know what you're going to do because you know who he is. So you may not know your next move, you may not know your next step, but you know who holds your future. So you know you've got it. And so that's the biggest thing during tough times, is you need to know who you are. And that comes directly from who God is, for sure.
She's so smart.
Look who my daddy is.
The main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing.
Yeah.
And I want to use, this has been a perfect dialogue, girl, and a perfect discussion. I just like to talk to you. I just want you to know that.
Oh, I told him that, you guys, when I was 6, we were walking holding hands, and well, shocker, I'm a talker. I've always been this way, but I looked up and I told him, I just like to talk to you.
That's right.
I do. I like talking to you.
We always remember that. I want you to think about what she just said when she was saying, go back to the basics, which is God, if everything else fails. And I want to package it this way. When Dave Ramsey, great financial counselor and guru that he is, talks about people getting out of debt and getting out of the worst financial circumstances, he always says to attack the debt that's got its highest interest, right? That's got its your biggest debt, and whittle that thing down. Because, well, no, he looks at that. He actually says, excuse me, opposite. That's why I'm not counseling on finances. He says, when that has a weight like that on you, to take the debts that you can attack, that can bring some victory inside of your life, and they will give you hope, and attack that little thing, and then go after the next thing and after the next thing. And your goal may be this, but you've got to go after something. And I would put it in the realm of what Sharia just said, is to put it in the realm of what is going to yield the biggest return to you. That God is that basic, Christ is that basic to life, that if you don't know you're a spiritual being, if you don't know what your value is. I just preached on Mother's Day about the exceedingly great value of all women. You weren't born to be a cockroach, a glorified chimpanzee, but you're a child of God. Until you look at that and realize how he cherishes you. I go, you're not, your life's going to feel just like one among 6 billion, but it's like your life matters. But then taking those things and the big things first. I mean, you got cancer, man, you better hone that energy to go after that. Guess what? I had to put jogging on hold for about 6 months. And I'm even going through physical therapy now, which relates to that surgery. But about 4 months ago, I picked up jogging, little bits at a time, that bring victory over the whole circumstance. So, girl, you could not have been shared a better thing to close on. And that's what people need to attack. They need to attack those things. And you get those smaller victories, as Ramsey says. You go, look at, we're doing it. And pretty soon you find yourself out of the hole. And I go, may not come overnight, Odds are it's not going to. Rare, whoever gets the instant stuff, we all want it. I'm like, but um,
Well, if I may too, real quick, the instant stuff is kind of the biggest lie that gets everybody, because that's not real growth. Real growth is patient, it has stamina, it's stable, and that takes time, but it's the most peaceful route. So that's why, everybody out there listening, just wake up and just know you're strong. And then once you do that, all you have to do is one foot in front of the other. Reality unfolds one moment at a time. And just put one foot in front of the other. Eat healthy, take care of yourself. But again, once you hit the big thing, like you're saying, Dada, once you know who you are, you have no problem putting one foot in front of the other, because you need to do it, because there's more for you out there than what's going on. So
somebody said to me, the big winner in all of this is big government. I go, no. If you want to talk about a negative winner, the big winner of this is the devil and the pit of hell, that they suppress people on every response. And to go, the government couldn't even come close to that. The way people have been crippled in their minds and their bodies and their spirits, I'm like, there's a way out, and the victory and the only true victory is with God. So
well, and you know what? I'm sorry. I know we need to go, but I'm glad you said that, because I was thinking about that, because everything that the enemy doesn't want you to realize is that you can do it. I mean, period. He wants you to believe everything else, every lie, every, but I have this. Todd, you can't jog again. You've had prostate cancer. You can't do that. Don't even try to go up that hill. It's going to hurt too bad. You're going to be in pain. You won't make it to the top. He wants us to believe every single thing besides, I can do it. So just with that one simple phrase, I mean, you say that and you know that and you believe it and you walk it, he's gone. Like he can't touch you, because you're like, well, no, I can do it. I may trip, stumble. Doesn't mean it's not going to hurt. It doesn't mean it's not going to be hard, but I'm sure as heck going to try, because I can do it. So once you know that, he's got nothing on you.
Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. You know what all things means in the Greek?
All things.
All things, man. No matter what our thing is, I go, it tells us there and gives us the formula for doing it. So, perfect, my daughter. Would you do me a favor? And just so people know, we didn't rehearse all of this. This is just us, just
How
chatting.
we talk every day. It's weird.
Just chatting away. Are you comfortable to just pray for people about this, and especially the people going through tough times?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Jesus, thank you so much for just this day. Help us to just be in it. Help us to center our minds in it. Thank you so much for my dad and all he does, just trying to help people. Let everyone out there feel our love. Let everybody out there feel your love, because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. Growth is about love, and that is all that you sent your son to show us, was just love. May that love help people grow. May it help stretch them. May it help move them forward, because at the end of the day, we all know you love us and we are in the palm of your hands. Please help us all find strength from your love, from your comfort. Help us to cast our cares on you, because as the scriptures say, you care for us. And we thank you so much that strength never ends, and we can always rely on you. We can always lean on you. And above all, your character is what makes us unbreakable. We thank you for that. Please bless everybody hurting right now and help them to feel your presence. Amen.
I am very proud of you, Sharia.
Don't make me cry. We've made it this whole time.
I'm gonna end. I'm gonna end doing the way I've signed off every correspondence, every letter, everything to her, every text. It just simply says this: I love you, always have, always will.